What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Nasty Nate channel. We finally got the missing piece for the Duracon right here. It's actually in the back of the Pilot. If you've been watching all the videos, we have been waiting on this piece right here, the drive shaft. Brand new U-joints in her, and hopefully it is the right length, because that is the only problem we are running into. So I'm going to have to pull the yoke out of the transfer case, because I did install the yoke in the transfer case. It's like a slip yoke type deal, just so I could park it in the street and it wouldn't leak anything out while it's parked in the street. So I am going to have to pull that out and take the U-joint out and then put that on the shaft, and then we can bolt the shaft in and drive this thing. So let's see if it works. Something I didn't really think about when I put this together is lining this up with the rear end. So I'm gonna have to start this thing, put it in two-wheel drive. No, I'll have to put it in neutral so I can spin it and then find the right orientation and get it in. All right, it seems like the drive shaft is the right length. Let's take her for a rip. All right, guys, first drive in two-wheel drive with the rear drive shaft. Here we go. Start her up. We're gonna get the engine code because I still need to figure out the turbo problem. Something about the turbo vane actuator. I put the one off of my single cab on this. It did not fix the problem, so I'm guessing either the vanes are stuck because this thing sat for a little while even before I bought the motor, the donor truck. It's really hot in here already. And the vanes can seize up if the motor sits for a while and they don't, actuate back and forth. Or it's a wiring problem. I believe it's a 2-wire sensor, so shouldn't be too hard to chase down if it's a wiring problem. So that'll be the next issue, and then this thing will be completely ready to go. I'm gonna drive it around the neighborhood and see what happens. Here we go. In drive, I can already feel that it's got some resistance. Okay, here we go. This thing sounds hilarious with the open downpipe. It definitely feels better driving with the rear drive shaft than it does the front. It shifts good, it just won't rev over 2 grand due to that code. Man, this thing is a driver. This thing's gonna be awesome to daily drive. It already rides smooth like a freaking Cadillac. This thing's so heavy. Pretty much contemplating life. Have no clue what to do on this thing. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just kind of undo the engine harness and look around. Well, I see that the tape was it honestly looked like it was chewed up. Running the turbo vane actuator back to the ECM, it goes to the connector C1, which this is right here. It's a blue wire, which is right here. There's also a green wire right here that I am looking at. Well, look at this blue wire. It's like disintegrating right here. I've got a blue wire in my hand pointing it out. But this blue wire right here, it's not even connected actually. So I'm gonna cut this back and solder in a new blue wire, and I'll probably end up fixing this green one, and I'm gonna see if there's any other problematic wires like this. But this might fix our issue right here. So let's see what happens. All right, unfortunately, I only have red heat shrink that would fit. I didn't want to use heat shrink that was too small or too big, but I did find the problem for the blue wire. But we have not started this thing up yet. I'm gonna put this all back together and clear the codes, start it up, drive it around and see what happens, I guess. All right, we got it running again. Just started it. Thanks to my good friend Jesse. He lent me his scanner, so I'll be able to clear the codes here in a second. It's kind of funny, this thing automatically recognizes that it's an LBZ from the ECU. Little does it know it's in a Suburban. Right there, LBZ, boys. All right, no engine light. Still got a low coolant level, but I think the tank needs to be replaced because the sensor is like a floating thing in there that you can't actually, you have to replace the whole tank. You can't just replace the sensor. If the engine light comes back on, actually it needs glow plug 6. So that's possible. Okay, it definitely sounds like a Duramax now with the vanes. Instead of like the LB7 noise where you can't hear like the hissing or like the jet engine sound. But this thing sounds like the vanes might be working. All right guys, I'm almost positive that solved our issue. This thing's quick now. It is not lagging one bit, and it feels like an LBZ should. This thing is going to rip. I'm just gonna kind of drive it around a little bit and see what happens. I think I need to tighten the bolts on the core support, because I never tightened those. I don't think I did, at least, but I mean, this thing's heavy enough, it should stay together. Oh yeah, this thing's ripping. This thing's ripping. I can't believe it. We got a running and driving LBZ Yukon with no codes, nothing. Boys, I think I gotta take her easy for a second. I heard something, some kind of bolt loose or something. I don't want this thing to fall apart under me. All right, it definitely needs to pump some trans fluid through her a little more. All right, I think I know it's fixed because I just came up to a stoplight. For all those LBZ guys out there, you would know when your truck is at a stoplight, it shuffles through the vanes and makes a really weird noise. And it just did that for me, which means the vanes are now working. This thing definitely is running like it should. I'm gonna see if I can get it up to temperature and just cruise it a little bit. So we've been driving the Yukon for a few days now. I've been buttoning up a few things on it, like putting the interior back together. Everything is cleaned out. I've got my stash of distilled water just in case, some power steering. For the first few days that I'm driving this thing around, got it cleaned out finally. I want to run the shop vac and probably try to clean these seats. Got everything cleaned out of the trunk. I'm gonna put the third row back in today, and we're finally going to wash this thing. And I'm actually going to replace the truck in the driveway with the Yukon right now. to try to mess with the front bumper, wash this thing, get it looking good. And the truck is gonna go in the street for a few days, and we are about to order a turbo for that because everything is running good on the Yukon. And basically I just wanted to finish this project first before I got into anything else on the single cab. So I am gonna park the single cab in the street for a little while. The Suburban or Yukon will reside in the driveway, and it's the new daily driver, so works out pretty well. We are starting the truck on one battery, so I'm kind of questioning what's gonna happen here, but I had to rob a battery from it for the Yukon the other day, and I just haven't bought one yet, so let's see what happens. It is so nice driving a Duramax with a full turning radius. This thing is absolutely awesome. One thing I'm really digging about this thing is I just love this body style of truck. Everything just feels so solid. Even when you open the back doors, listen to that. I've never had a truck with back doors because mine is obviously a single cab. Man, this thing looks good. She is so wide in the street. Check this out. Compared to the Honda, we take up the whole entire lane parked right here. But you guys already know one of the next videos is going to be slapping these wheels and the 3-inch wheel spacers that we have on this truck. We are putting them on the GMC Yukon LBZ because they just fit on there. They're 8-lug. It's an LBZ, 22 by 14s. We're not going to be able to turn with this thing. Sounds perfect to me. Turning, that just makes too much sense. Well, boys, we're getting on the highway for the first time. Let's see what happens. Cruising 70. This thing's smooth. Oh my God, it's smoother than it was with the 6-liter. Oh my God, it's smoother than my truck. This is the new daily, boys. Holy crap. This is sweet. Oh, this is where it's at. If you don't have an LBZ Suburban, then where you at? Guys, I never realized how nice it is to have 4 doors or 4 windows that roll down. It's like 75 and sunny today. It is absolutely perfect to have the windows down and listen to this LBZ humming on the highway. This is what everyone needs to build for a tow rig. You could fit like 10 people in here. I don't know, there's 3 rows, however many people fit in there. This thing is sweet. If you noticed in the last couple of clips, we do have a check engine light on. That is for glow plug number 6. Actually the most inconvenient one to replace. It is right under the steering column or next to the steering column shaft on the driver's side. But what can you do? Everything runs perfect except for that, and this thing does not need glow plugs to start. So these LBZs have glow plugs, but they start with absolutely no problems, even if all the glow plugs don't work. So this thing is an absolute runner, huge accomplishment. I'm feeling really good driving this thing. I detailed this thing today, so when I get out, I'll show you. This thing shined up really well earlier today. Really want to buff and wax it, and I really am looking for a 1500 or 2500 truck bumper. They are the same. The only difference from the 1500 and 2500 truck is the grill. So I want to get the grill and bumper because the Yukons are the old style grill and bumper, which is like the 01 and 02. But oh my God, this thing is impressing me more and more the more I drive it and mess with it and whatever. So the next step for us is to get this thing tuned. I want to do something cool with the tuning, maybe a lope tune on one of the switches or one of the positions. I think it'd be kind of funny for Instagram videos and TikToks and stuff like that. I don't really like the smoke and lope and a lot of smoke, stuff like that, but I just want to do something to get some attention. It's kind of funny. This thing is just awesome.